No sooner does he level the wings than he sees two other MiGs directly off his nose.
Suddenly I see flashes in front of me, and I see two MiG-21s launch missile against me head-on.
The missiles have no chance of arming or detonating from the forward quarter, but just the impact would be fatal. All Epstein can do is duck. The missiles and MiGs pass right over his canopy. Suddenly, another pair of MiGs moves in from behind.
The fact is, and which is lucky thing, is that on your 6 o'clock, there is a place for only one aeroplane. So they can be 20 or 100 or 1,000. Behind you can be only one aeroplane. Only those who are behind you can kill you.
This time, Epstein has a precious few seconds to go on the offense. He'll bank sharply, pop the brakes, lift the nose, and barrel roll smoothly onto the trailing MiG 6 o'clock. In a brilliant display of aerial dexterity, he's turned the tables on the MiGs.
Epstein was a master of managing energies. And he always knew what his potential energy is at every spot, and he calculated, he knew where he's going. I mean, that he was good at that.
A short burst of 30mm cannon fire. Then a huge fireball. Epstein immediately levels his wings, preparing for the next encounter. The last pair of MiGs move in for the kill. For 7 minutes, Giora Epstein has fought alone against 11 MiG-21s. The last two are moving into position on his tail.
There are less and less MiGs until there is only one pair behind me.
Epstein will sense when the MiGs are about to fire, then brake hard at the last moment, forcing an overshoot. Then he will reverse sharply, bringing his guns to bear. Epstein brakes. The MiGs flash by, then try bugging out by pulling into a steep climb. Exactly as planned, Epstein reverses sharply, levels, gains some speed, then climbs in pursuit. He lines up the rear of the pair in his gun sight.
I shoot the number 2 and it hit him in the cockpit. There was no explosion and no smoke, nothing, and it just went all the way down to the ground.
The other MiG continues to run. Epstein brings his nose to bear and acquires good tone from his remaining heat-seeking missile.
I launched my second missile, which unfortunately went like a bidon.
The missile falls away from the underwing pylon. Epstein has the cannon ammunition, but not enough fuel for a chase. It would have been his 5th kill for the day.
I was cocky enough to ask the controller if there is any more targets for me. So he told me no.
Epstein returns to his base, a forward outpost in the Sinai Desert. After shutting down the engine, he has to be lifted out of the cockpit.
My legs shaking, and there is no, because it was nearly 10 minutes of very, very intensive thing.
10 adrenaline-pumping minutes of dodging and weaving, rolling and reversing, pulling maximum positive and negative G.
I spoke to him many times. I said, what make you stay there? He says, it didn't even occur to me to leave. There's no such a question. I mean, I had the ammunition, I had fuel. Why should I go anywhere? There are targets out there. I got to complete my job. He believed that it was unthinkable to leave the battle. And that's what made him a fierce warrior.
4 days later, on October 24th, Epstein is back in the air. He shoots down 3 more MiG-21s. The Yom Kippur War ends the same day. Epstein stayed in Delta Wing fighters, moving from the Nesher into the follow-on Kafir, the last true Delta flown by the Israelis. In 1988, at age 50, he transitioned into the next generation fighter aircraft, the F-16. The Netz, or Hawk as it's called in Israel, represents a quantum leap in fighter aircraft technology. Younger pilots consider the F-16, with its blended body-wing design and powerful engine, to be the pinnacle of agility and responsiveness. But to many old hands like Epstein, the computer-driven fly-by-wire fighter lacks the purity of the Mirage.
You are not flying F-16. F-16 fly itself from his computer. You are only one of many inputs to the computer of the F-16. Me, myself, as a pilot, I need the feelings. I need to enjoy the flight. And in F-16, you miss it. It's not exactly the same. In the Mirage, every flight is enjoyable. F-16, you can have unbelievable achievements, but the feeling is not the same.
On May 27, 1997, at age 59, Colonel Giora Epstein flew his last mission for the Israeli Air Force. The nose of his F-16 was specially painted to show his 17 kills. All of them scored in Mirages and Neshers. They are mute testimony to the legacy of the Delta Wing fighter and to the fighting spirit of Israel's desert aces. Giora Epstein remains the world's top-scoring jet fighter pilot.